stand for fantasy football franchise. Talking about that guy, Ghee. Tyler every week. Heavy analytics, competition real steep. Whoa, that's sweet. Oh, in this belief. Nick so sick, man, bringing ships the whole fleet. Goats, not sheep. Follow every tweet. Don't sleep, always finding sleepers on the street, boy. F3, winning every single league. Money back guaranteed, but it's free. Welcome to the franchise. Welcome to the franchise. Let's go.
All right, welcome back to the F3 podcast. My name is Joey. I'm at Joey the Tooth IDP, and I'm here with my co-host Andrew. Hi, Andrew. How you doing?
Good. How you doing? You can find me at DubsFans02.
Unfortunately, we're missing Sean tonight. He, I believe, indulged a little too heavily last night at a wedding, so he's not going to be with us tonight.
Lightweight.
Yeah. Must be nice to be a teenager again.
Wait, can you drink as a teenager in the United States of America?
No, but that never stopped most of us.
My goodness.
Today we're going to be recapping Week 6. So I think to start it off, let's get right to the Thursday night game, New England and the Giants. Who stood out for you in that game?
Nobody really. It was kind of a boring game. I mean, did you think it was going to be that competitive that long?
No, it really took quite a while for the Patriots offense to get rolling. I was really surprised.
I mean, I guess if anything stood out to me at all, it's how, inefficient Sony Michel was in what should have been like a smash opportunity for him.
Yeah.
He gets vultured twice by Tom Brady.
And once by Bolden too.
Was the Bolden really a vulture? That was a longer score, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was somewhat. Actually, yeah, it was a 21-yarder.
Yeah. So, the touchdown was a 1-yarder. He did have a 21-yarder later in the game, but the actual touchdown was it was a 1-yard run.
So yeah, three legitimate goal line carries.
Yeah.
Sniped.
And what do you think that is? Why do you think that he got pulled at the goal line?
He's just been inefficient. I don't even see them, even on third and shorts, he's not getting the ball. They're just still dropping into their short pass offense.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to we keep talking about how inefficient he was. You can do this with most players if you take away the longest run, but he was really averaging 3 yards per carry before he busted off one long run late in the game.
Right.
And so it's just, they keep trotting him out there. They keep trying to see what they got in him. But I think, I don't know. If I was a Sonny Michel, which I'm not, I'd be trying to see what I could get for him at this point.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Especially with, they could put in Damian Harris anytime they want, just to see what he can do. Because if he fails, you still have guys active that can step in and play. So why not give him a shot if Michel's still being inefficient?
Yep.
I liked Jacoby Myers stepping into a bit of a role with the team banged up. He looked pretty good.
Yeah, he's another guy I wanted to mention.
Yeah, when the offense wasn't rolling, he was the only guy that really made a couple plays. He had, I think, two 20-yard grabs that really kind of got the offense moving. And then Edelman finally came alive.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Really efficient use of his targets. 4 catches on 4 targets. So, yeah, he looked good. He's definitely a dynasty stash.
Yep.
I guess the question is whether or not he'll have anybody to throw it to him after Tommy retires. But I'm sure they'll piece something together there.
They'll find something to do. Yep. I worry about that whole team once if Tom retires and then Belichick goes. What is it going to be the same? Can't be.
And what about the Josh Gordon injury? Did you hear anything more about that? I didn't get any updates.
No, he was gone after the first quarter, though.
Yeah.
I think I'm not 100% sure exactly what it was. I thought it was a knee or quad, but I really don't know.
Yeah, it looked like a knee to me. It didn't look good. I'm not saying rest of the season, but I think he'll miss. A little bit of time anyway.
Yeah, and Golden Tate coming back, making a nice impact.
Yeah, he looked good on that. Daniel Jones, I guess, people were criticizing quite a bit after this game, but that's a stout, New England defense. And so for him to get even 6 balls to Golden Tate, that's a good portent for their connection going forward.
If you saw some of those windows he was throwing into,
Yeah,
to even have the balls to make that throw
well,
was something.
I can't remember. I saw like a next gen stat where he attempted more tight window throws in that game, I think, than I think it might have been than any other quarterback this year has attempted. But
in that game?
Sorry, in a single game.
I gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And so he's just, he good for him, I guess, for seeing the windows, whether they're tight or not, seeing those opportunities and taking a shot. I really think that he's got a pretty bright future.
Yeah, and there was still even there was a couple of long balls he threw to Darius Slayton that were good throws. They were just broken up by Stephon Gilmore. It was just good plays.
Absolutely.
But so I say the future's bright for Daniel Jones. Just he needs some help.
He definitely needs some help. Imagine if he had that guy Odell Beckham Jr.
You know what? Odell Beckham would probably just be a miserable bastard. He'd probably be that guy sitting on the bench with his arms crossed, like.
Do you think so? I don't want to get into it yet because we're going to get to Cleveland soon, but I haven't seen him have any really bad body language this year.
I know. I'm actually quite
the Browns
surprised
are struggling. Yeah, I think him being a bad teammate might have been a little bit overblown in the New York market.
Yeah, that's a good possibility too.
You ready to move on?
Yeah, let's go to Tampa Bay and Carolina, the London game.
Yeah, did you get up early for this one? Did you get a catch?
I watched parts of it, and all I can say is Jameis Winston is not a franchise quarterback.
Are you saying that?
Man,
6 turnovers in a game is not the key to success?
No, especially at the rate he normally does anyway. I think since he's come into the league, he's thrown the most interceptions of any quarterback.
That's very possible. Yeah. And that's considering that he hasn't started every game because he had those stretches where
Fitzpatrick started.
Yeah, I wonder how bad it would be if you added Fitzpatrick's turnovers to.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
that would not be good at all.
Yeah,
I don't know. He just didn't look good to me at all. I mean, yeah, he had 400 passing yards, but
he
had 5 interceptions and he took 7 sacks.
Yeah. Not a banner day for him, which is kind of strange to me because as I recall, he played relatively well the last time that Tampa played Carolina. It was a Thursday night game, right?
Right.
And Tampa ended up winning that one. Where I think that might have been Cam's last game, wasn't it?
I think so.
That was like week 2 or 3.
And now look at Kyle Allen.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, talk about taking advantage of your opportunities. Not many I don't know. He was a late round pick, if not undrafted.
Yeah.
Come in to like a losing situation where Carolina had lost, I think their previous 7 or 9 games.
Yeah.
And then string off 4 wins.
4 straight and impressive ones too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like he's not just like a game manager. He's actually making plays.
He's still not carrying the team. Like it's still. It's still
McCaffrey.
Oh, it's absolutely McCaffrey.
Oh, it's McCaffrey.
Did you see the stat where McCaffrey's averaging more yards per game than I think it was the Dolphins?
And I think it was it was the Rams this week. Stephon Diggs had more yards himself than the Rams did this past weekend.
I believe that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christian McCaffrey's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
He's unbelievable. I honestly, when he came into the NFL, I didn't think he was going to be that good running between the tackles, but he exceeded far beyond my expectations.
And honestly, he wasn't even that good in this game. This was not his best game.
Right.
But he still, what did he punch in? 2 touchdowns?
Yep. He had 1 rushing, 1 receiving.
Yeah. So, he's just so versatile, so talented. Yeah. No, I mean, there's the last couple of years has been that big conversation about who are the top dynasty running backs, and everyone's always like, oh, it's Zeke or it's Barkley. Kamara's in the conversation. CMC, he's right in that conversation, if not at this point leading it, given Barkley. I mean, obviously you can't hold him getting injured against him too heavily, but durability is a big part of your value.
Right.
And Zeke's holdout, he hasn't really quite been the same since he came back from his holdout. And Kamara's had a slow start to the season because Breeze has been out. So
plus he's been battling an injury this past week.
Yep. So, I mean, CMC being able to battle through despite losing his starting quarterback and having to carry the weight of the load, he's looked really good.
Yeah, definitely. And also on Carolina, DJ Moore had a pretty good game. He
Mm-hmm.
had 10 targets, 7 receptions, 73 yards. So he's even with the backup quarterback in, he's still able to get his numbers. And Samuel as well, he had a good game, 70 yards and a touchdown. So the passing game is moving. It is going well.
Yeah, and so I remember there being a lot of debate in the offseason this year between DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel about who was actually the wide receiver one because
Right.
last year I think DJ Moore had a slightly better statistical season, but Curtis Samuel, I think he was coming back from an injury last year. He's kind of slow start, and
Right.
down the stretch, Curtis had some pretty big games, and
Right.
so there's a big debate. Who at this point, who do you think is the wide receiver one in Carolina?
Honestly, it's too tough for me to say. It's like a 1A, 1B. It's kind of like with the Buccaneers actually at this point. Like Mike Evans, I think is the more talented receiver than Chris Godwin, but as of right now, Godwin I say is their 1A and Mike Evans is their 1B.
I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to say Godwin is a more talented receiver. Mike Evans is a more gifted receiver. Like you can't teach tall
Okay,
and physical
I
and
gotcha.
versus Godwin. I think is a much cleaner route runner. I think he's got better hands. I think he's got better yards after catch ability. But Mike Evans is just like a physical specimen. So no, I agree with you that
I
they're 1A and
gotcha.
1B. I don't know necessarily that Moore and Samuel are quite on that tier just yet
Oh no,
because
not at all. I'm saying like in relevance of who's one and who's two.
sure,
It's more
yeah,
of like they're
it's
both
close.
kind of like it could go either way each game.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I agree with that.
All right, let's move on to Seattle and Cleveland.
Seattle, Cleveland. Did you see much of that game?
I did not, but I did pay attention to some of the statistics because
Okay.
I told my brother earlier this year I made the advice. He had drafted Mahomes and Russell Wilson, and I told him he should trade Mahomes as soon as he can and see what he can get. And Russell Wilson's been killing it.
Absolutely.
So he ended up making a trade. It was oh my gosh, it was so terrible. It was Mahomes and Frank Gore when Singletary was still out. Like he's still up, but it was Frank Gore and Mahomes for Amari Cooper and Leonard Fournette.
Oh, that's abusive.
And he still had Russell Wilson to fall back on. So I was like, wow, dude, and the trade was offered to him.
Wow.
It's like I was like, man, Mahomes' value is so high.
Is that like a 16 league or what?
12 team.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's quite a haul.
Yeah. I was like, well done, bro. Well done. I was like, just do it. Who cares if you lose Mahomes? Just do it. You still have Wilson.
No, Wilson has been playing at a much higher level. I think it's not even so much like the level that he's playing at. It's because I think he's always played at a high level, but
Right.
he's had the opportunity to put up statistical numbers that I don't think anybody anticipated, just because of the history of Seattle wanting to run the ball and run the ball and
Right.
run the ball. And so the game scripts have been favorable to him, and he's had opportunities to just stack stats and stats and stats, and he's been
Right.
really good this year. Did you see? Apparently, he ran an entire series yesterday without any voice communication in his headset.
I am not surprised.
Yeah,
I'm not
and
surprised. He's an amazing quarterback. Like his football IQ is far higher than most QBs in this league.
oh, no question. And so it was one of their touchdown drives. I think it was one of the touchdowns to Jaron Brown.
Yeah.
Is it Jaron Brown? I think it's Jaron Brown. Anyway,
Yeah, it's Jerron.
and so he orchestrated this drive, and so a lot of people are now speculating like, why don't we let him do that more often?
Right.
like he's again the Browns defense has not been phenomenal this year, but
Right.
still if he can do that occasionally just to mix things up, go with a little higher tempo play calling. I think that'd be a good
Yep.
thing for the team.
Go Peyton Manning style.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he lost Will Dissly, who's been huge for him this year. He went down with what, a torn Achilles.
Yeah, it's not confirmed yet, but that's a speculation. That was
Yeah.
crushed. That was crushing to me because
Oh man.
I've been on the Disley train since last year, and
Yeah, he started off the season really good last year, and nobody really bought
yeah.
into it.
And I held him. I kept him in IR, and I held him through the off season, through roster cut downs, and I I was just waiting, and he rewarded me so generously this year by playing so well.
Yep.
And you hate to see a young guy, especially a guy that worked that hard to get back from, patellar tendon injury is not a joke to come back from either.
Right.
But an Achilles rupture, those are career killers. So I feel really bad about that.
I do too.
Yeah,
But and unfortunately for them, they don't really have anybody to fill in. I mean, it's going to be Luke Wilson unless they have Hollister step up. I think it's going to be more Wilson because they're going to go run heavy still.
Yeah, it's hard to say. But they just traded Vanette to Pittsburgh, right? So that was
because they were like, well, we got Disley, we're good.
Exactly. No, that's very disappointing.
And with Penny out, Carson just proved still that he is by far the top back in that system. I mean, Penny's good, but Carson just keeps proving every game that he's worth it.
Absolutely, and he didn't fumble in this one, so that's another positive. So he's looking good.
124 yards plus another 35 receiving, so 150 total yards.
Yeah, he's on pace for, I think somebody said 50 receptions this year. which I think would be a career high for him.
Nice.
So he's contributing in the pass game as well, which is big for him because I think he was always known as a good between the tackles runner, and to expand his game a little bit is very, very beneficial for him.
Yep. Sticking with running backs, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb has looked like a top 5 running back the past few weeks.
Yeah, no, he's
been amazing.
Yeah,
averaged 6 yards per carry this game.
Definitely paying off people that drafted him as a rookie. When he was theoretically behind Carlos Hyde, was it when he was drafted last year?
Yeah.
And Duke Johnson, people are still speculating about the breakout of Duke Johnson. So, no, he's definitely shown that he's more valuable than them, and probably, going to be able to hold off Kareem Hunt if he continues to play at this level, right?
I think he will. I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, if he's averaging 6 yards per carry, he's got 100 yards in his past few games, past 2, I think, 120 plus, I think, in his past 2, plus with multiple touchdowns. And he's breaking off long runs. He had an 82-yarder last week. This week he has a 52-yarder.
Yep.
And it's just he's shown that he can be that back. You don't really need Hunt. Hunt will be nice to come in and spell him and also play a little extra, take a couple snaps from him. But I really don't see him really eating into Chubb's workload too much.
Yeah. Anybody else you want to mention on the Browns?
Ricky Seals-Jones.
Yes, he's my Disley backup.
Yep, same here.
we're in desperate times.
Yep, I always draft tight end late, and Disley was kind of like my late guy, and then I was like, another win, I got him, and then he just went down. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seals-Jones, he had 6 targets, 47 yards, and a touchdown. And Mayfield likes throwing his tight ends in the red zone. So.
No, I didn't see very much this game. There was a play that went off a receiver's hands and got intercepted. Was that a Ricky Seals-Jones target, or was that?
That I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that because quarterbacks tend to not like that when you drop a pass and allow it to get intercepted.
Yeah, but what he was able to do on his touchdown, that 31-yard touchdown, he just looked the part of a nice move tight end. He's obviously an ex-receiver.
Yeah, he was a 5-star recruit coming into college.
Yeah.
As a wide receiver, not as a tight end. So.
Yep.
There's certainly potential there, and he looked good. He looked good for a couple of games in Arizona 2 years ago. Last year was a bit of a lost season for him, but there's been flashes. So. Yeah. It looks like they're giving an opportunity now with Njoku out, and I don't know how long Njoku's going to be out, but if he can take advantage while he's gone, then he might be able to carve himself out a little niche there.
Right, definitely. All right, let's move on to Houston and Kansas City. Kansas City losing again, 2 in a row.
This is a game that I watched most of because this was. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be, but it was still probably one of the more exciting games of the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, and to see Mahomes lose 2 games in a row, what do you think about that? I think now the Raiders might be tied or close to the top of the AFC West.
Are the Raiders 4-2 as well?
I think they're 3-2 because they had a bye.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Right?
I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. I think I think the ankle is a little bit more of a impediment than they're letting on.
Right.
And but I do think it's something that he's going to be able to play through. I just think they need to adjust their play calling a little bit for him to help him get the ball out of his hands a little bit earlier, because right now, like, pass rush is teeing off on him a little bit too much.
Right.
And so just take a little bit of that pressure off. I mean, they still have some really good receivers that can run some quick route concepts that can
definitely
get players in space and take advantage of their speed. But I'm really not worried about him. He's actually a guy that I'm considering trading for because I think he probably just had his 2 worst games of the season. I think this is 2 worst games of his career.
Most likely. Yep, I can see it.
Yeah, and so.
And he threw for 3 touchdowns, so what does that say?
Oh, yeah.
But I think what worries me about Kansas City is the fact they ran the ball 11 times.
Yeah. As a Damian Williams truther, that doesn't make me feel real good.
He had as many carries as DeAnthony Thomas and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And LaShawn McCoy led all backs, but he still only had 8 carries.
Yeah. No, I mean, you feel not too bad about the result because he caught that 1 touchdown.
Right.
But 2 touches for 20 yards and a touchdown is not what you want out of a starting running back. So I think you got to just avoid pretty much all of that backfield right now. I mean, Darrell Williams didn't even get a carry this week. He got He had 2 targets, 1 long catch, right?
Yeah, 52-yard catch.
Yeah. So no, I think until they can get that offensive line settled, it's going to be a bit of an avoid situation for the running game.
Yep.
I was excited to see the return of Tyreek Hill and started out with a bang. He didn't. So did you know much about his injury?
No.
And so, like, I don't know if I mentioned it before, my wife's a physiotherapist, right? And so, like, when they got the first week that it happened, there was a report that he was, like, rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment for a clavicle dislocation. And I was like, what kind of a clavicle dislocation requires, like, immediate medical attention? And my wife was like, I have no idea. And so I just heard a report yesterday, or maybe I read an article. What happened was when your clavicle dislocates, usually it dislocates outwards.
Yeah.
It's dislocated inwards. So the bone is like pointing towards your like heart and lungs and stuff. And so like it didn't. Apparently, it didn't actually like affect anything. But there's just that was the concern. That's why they had like emergency evacuation to the hospital. Jesus. And so I told my wife, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty rare. Like that doesn't happen every day." Yeah. And so, but he looked fearless out there. Like he was bouncing off guys. I saw him throw down a block on a screen, and just bouncing off guys. And I'm like, dude, like.
Aren't you worried that's going in again?
I know. And so no, so he looked back to himself. So I'm not worried about him going forward at all. Anybody else? Travis Kelce wasn't quite himself, but
yeah, he was a little up. But I think that has to do with Mahomes too in that game. On the Houston side, Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, what's up with that?
He's just. I mean, he is a high volume running back. He's getting like 15 to 20 carries a game every game.
Yeah. Are you buying him?
I don't think so, because I think next year they just go into that 2020 draft class and grab themselves back. Yeah. I really do. I mean, I think this is more of like just a filler, but I mean, if you need somebody right now that you can buy cheap, I mean, if you're like going to win now and you need a running back, he's probably the best running back to buy cheap, based purely on volume and how that offense is. It's a very good offense.
Yeah, I still don't think he's the guy that I'm targeting though.
No, I know.
I just feel like he's so game script dependent. If they get down, like he's just going to be phased out. Because Duke Johnson looked really good in the passing game yesterday, right? He had that. I think it was a touchdown reception.
He actually only had 6 more receiving yards than Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only 2 catches to 1, but he was involved. He had the goal line look or the red zone look.
Yeah.
But he
got
also
more
looked
targets
good
to
as a
one.
runner too. Even though he only had five attempts, he still ran the ball well.
Well,
Duke Johnson.
I don't think he gets enough credit for his ability to run. I think everyone's kind of
Right.
pigeonholed him as a scat back, and I
Yeah.
think he's a lot more than that. It's just
agreed.
that he's really good at that. So no, I'm not surprised that he was efficient as a runner either.
Yep. And Darren Fells
Mm-hmm.
making an impact again. He had seven targets, 6 receptions for 69 yards.
Is that a guy you're looking at to replace Will Dissly?
Yeah. I
Yeah, same here.
mean, he's doing it. It was like 3 straight weeks now.
Is it 3? I knew it was 2. I didn't know it was 3.
I think it was 3 straight weeks. I think he has I think he has 3 touchdowns in his previous 2 weeks, and then this week he had almost 70 yards. So it's like,
yeah, that is much more interesting than I had thought. Then so, well, I guess we're gonna have to go buy some Darren Fells then.
yeah. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, unless you have something else you want to talk about with Houston KC.
I was just going to talk about everybody that was a week late on the Will Fuller hype train because of last week's blowout. If you didn't get in last week and you decided you were going to try to catch up this week, don't totally lose faith because he did drop 3 long touchdowns in this game. So the opportunity was there.
Oh, yeah.
The play was right. You just have to be patient with Will Fuller. It's just,
Right.
you know,
he's always been known to drop some passes.
Yeah, he wasn't known for his hands coming out of college. And his first 2 years in the season, he was scoring touchdowns at an unsustainable rate.
Incredible rate.
Yeah, and so like you had to know that there's going to be some regression there. I think you're hopefully going to see some positive regression from this past week because he's not going to drop all of those opportunities going forward. And he could have had another monster week. And they love him. They love him. They keep going back to him. Like DeAndre Hopkins is almost an afterthought in that offense these days. It feels like.
The long ball always goes to Fuller.
Yeah, it seems like Hopkins is the underneath guy now, which
which
I don't think is the best use of his abilities, but it certainly is opening up some doors for Fuller. So
right, I think they're kind of just taking they're almost using Hopkins as more of a decoy.
Yeah, so I'm still in on Fuller. I wish I'd bought him before his breakout.
Right.
Nobody was selling him after the breakout. You might find somebody selling low on him this week after that, but probably not after the week he had before. So if you got him, I'd hang on to him. I think he's a legit player.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll come back and talk some more Week 6.
Sounds good.
And welcome back. I'm here with Andrew, and we're speaking some more Week 6. And unfortunately, next up is the Redskins and the Dolphins.
The good news is one of these teams is going to win a game. The bad news is one of these teams had to win a game.
One team lost the game. They failed 2 point. All you had to do. Oh.
And how do you feel about that?
I mean, why not? Go for it, unless it was an intentional to tank.
That's a good point. But so do you know what the league-wide conversion rate on 2-point converts is?
What is it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Hang on, let me look it up. What do you think? What do you think it is?
I'm gonna say 44%.
Okay. Keep talking, because we don't want dead air.
All right. Well, while you're looking that up, the one person I really want to talk about is Terry McLaurin. Obviously, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions. I mean, he's obviously the number one there, no doubt about it. Keenum threw for 166 yards, 100 of them went to McLaurin. So both of his touchdowns. So McLaurin's really the only person I feel like on both of these teams right now that is worth like a definite hold. Like he's the only person to own on this team. Like Kenyon Drake, yeah, he has some positive outlook, but if he leaves the Dolphins, nobody's going to sign him on to be a number 1 running back. He's going to end up being a scat back somewhere. And I mean, there's a couple of receivers in Miami, but it all depends what happens this offseason.
So the best information that I can find is that the over this period of time, can't even find the period of time, but it's about 1,000 attempts. The success rate was 48%.
Yeah, that's close.
It's actually higher than I expected. I expected it to be closer to 40, like you said, 44.
Yeah.
But like, so you're willing to take less than a 50-50 shot of winning the game versus kicking the extra point, which converted over a 90% rate, and then theoretically have a 50% chance. I mean,
right.
I don't know. I don't love the math. I don't, especially when you're already an 0-4 team, so you're obviously not that confident in your offense.
Right.
You're gonna put them out there to convert a 2-point to win the game. I don't like it.
I mean, I think to them it's, well, what do we have to lose? We're just going to lose another game, and then we're that much closer to the first overall pick. Otherwise, we have the chance to try to steal a game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like it's a win-win for them. If you show you've got a little bit of balls in you, and then you go for it and you get the win, or you lose and you're that much closer to number one.
I don't know. I don't love it.
I don't like it either, but I can see the thought.
I think you said more than enough about Washington, Miami, so let's move on.
Yeah. Philly, we're going to move on to the Eagles and the Vikings. And for me, anybody who bought low on Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs, or Adam Thielen after the slow start from all of them is got to be fist pumping right now.
Yeah. I have Stephon Diggs in a couple of leagues. I don't think I have any shares of either Kirk or Thielen.
I have 3 of each of them.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So it was kind of one of those. I was big on Cousins going into the season. I was like, well, he's got Thielen, he's got Diggs.
Yeah.
I think he can at least do what he did last season again, at least that.
Okay.
And the first few games, I was like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into?
And so I mean, I've got a couple shares of Diggs, and I was firmly holding. I was not selling low because I believe in the talent, and given the mood in Minnesota the last couple of weeks, I thought there's a possibility he could end up somewhere else, which would have been exciting as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
With his talent. So unfortunately, I did not start him in either of the leagues that I have him in.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna lose in one of those leagues by 2 points.
Oh.
Yeah. So no,
that's an easy win for you.
Yeah, it's hard to see that coming though. The way he's been pretty inconsistent.
Well, the whole passing offense. I mean, last week was the first breakout for Kirk Cousins. He's been horrendous. I don't even know if it's him or the play calling, because even their week 1 big win, they only had 16 passing attempts.
Oh yeah.
I think week 3 was more of the same. So it's not like he was playing bad. They just were running the ball at such a level that he wasn't needed.
Absolutely. What's their record? They're 4-2. I've never heard so much controversy over a 4-2 team before, right? Like people should be pumped, they're winning games, but it's still very critical of the whole way that the offense is being run, which nobody should have been surprised about though, because when is it Stefanski is the OC there now? I think when he took over midseason last year when they fired the old guy, he went extremely run heavy. Like it wasn't as much as the first couple games of the season, but there was a definite split in the play calling, and so no, I think it was somewhat predictable.
Yep. I think Alexander Madison has supplanted himself as possibly the best handcuff in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He actually played better than Dalvin Cook this game, but he obviously can handle a full workload if need be.
Did you see much of this game?
I did not.
No, I'm really curious if a lot of that was garbage time because they were up big,
right?
And if he just got a bunch of
and a lot of it. He did have 135-yard gain.
Sure.
One big gain, but still.
Anyway, you just always wonder about when a backup outperforms a starter if it's just mop up time, and I don't know.
Yeah. Over on the Philly side, you had Jordan Howard dominating the carries again, 13 to Miles Sanders 3.
Yeah, but Miles Sanders outperformed him.
Yeah, Miles Sanders had the great receiving day, 86 yards and a touchdown. He was actually the leading receiver on the team.
I saw a stat recently I think it was today. In the last 5 games, the longest reception by an Eagle was all Miles Sanders.
Really?
He has their longest reception. Like, not their most receiving yards, but single reception
Yeah.
in like 5 consecutive games.
Jeez.
And I don't have anything to back that up. I haven't verified that stat, but I thought that was kind of remarkable. Is that he, is he a scat back? Is like I think the story in him coming out was he wasn't undersized. Like, he didn't need to be that style of player. He could run 2 tackles, but he hasn't necessarily proved that he's effective between the tackles, and he has proven that he's effective out in space. So I don't know. Maybe they need to reassess.
I would love to see Sanders in an offense like what Kyle Shanahan runs in San Francisco.
Oh my goodness.
That would be the ideal fit for him.
I would, except for the fact that Shanahan rotates his backs too much. I want to see him get the touches, right?
True.
What's the old term when his dad was coaching, the Shanahanigans?
Shanahanigans.
When you never knew which running back to start in a given week because it was Russian roulette with running backs.
Right. Could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to New Orleans and Jacksonville. Gardner Minshew kind of came back down to earth finally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough defense. New Orleans is a tough defense.
Yeah, they're a good team, and they certainly changed their style of play since Drew Brees went down. They're trying to gut it out. They're playing conservative football. They're not giving up a whole lot of opportunities to their opponents.
Right.
They're trying to play, well-rounded football. So, I think I don't think it was a terrible game by Minshew. I mean, certainly statistically it wasn't outstanding, but like you said, it's a good defense.
Yeah. I'm not selling Minshew by any means. I still think even when Nick Foles comes back healthy, I think you still have to stick with Minshew. Unless they start going on like a 3-4 game slide, then maybe reassess. And if he's playing poorly. But
I think if you coming into the season you told Jacksonville they were going to lose 13-6 to New Orleans, they'd be like, yeah, you're probably right.
Right. And honestly, they'd probably think they'd lose by more.
Yeah, absolutely. So that you're going to lose 13-6 with your backup. Granted, It's also with New Orleans' backup, but still,
Teddy's been a proven starter in the league before.
Yeah. So
Leonard Fournette, he's looking like an RB1 definitely. His last 3 games have been huge. I think over 500 yards total in his past 3 games.
Oh really? Wow. Oh yeah, he hit that big one in Denver, right?
Yeah, 220 or 230 in Denver, but he's getting a lot of receptions. A lot of receptions.
No, he's I think he's elevating himself into that sort of second tier of running backs for sure.
Yep. New Orleans, it was a lot of Michael Thomas again. Mm-hmm. Jared Cook caught another tight end. I think he's finally starting to make some Jared Cook buyers from earlier in the year happy because he was really slow to start.
Yeah, I'm still not in on Jared Cook though. No,
his yardage is still way down.
Yeah, low targets, low receptions. He's very touchdown dependent. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara kind of gutted out a mediocre performance. Like he's just not getting the running lanes that he would if Brees was there. So he's not producing on the rushing side, and he's getting reasonable volume of targets. Yep. It's just they're not those high efficient targets because it's much more predictable. They're not getting him in space where he can catch the ball in stride and see what he's getting in front of him, make a guy miss, and then bust one off. Right. So it's just not the same without Drew Brees.
Agreed. Do you know when is Drew Brees supposed to be back?
I heard week 6. No, that's this week.
This week.
I heard week 7. Because it was 5 weeks. It was supposed to be 6 weeks, so week 8. But he thinks he can be back in 5, which he heard it in week 2, so that'll be week 7. I wonder when their bye is, though.
I don't know. I can find out. But I mean, they're 5-1 still going on, and they've been without Drew Brees, so that says a lot for the Saints, and it says a lot for Bridgewater too, really.
Yep. No, Bridgewater certainly elevating his stock in the league because I think he's gonna be looking for a job somewhere else before too very long. Drew Brees is week 9 bye, so if he plays week 7 and week 8, I think that would give him an extra week to recover if he wasn't quite there.
Yeah, I feel like being 5-1, don't rush him back. Make sure he's healthy. If you're still winning games, make sure you get the best Drew Brees back you can get.
There was some good video of him throwing this week, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so I think the surgery went well. I think everything's progressing as they like it, and so it's just going to be a matter of is he elevating his chance of re-injury by going back too soon, like you said. So yeah,
right.
Good idea to play it safe, especially with a guy his age.
Yep. All right, let's move on to Cincinnati and Baltimore. Lamar Jackson having himself a hell of a game.
I got back into DFS finally this week, and I started Lamar Jackson, and I made a couple dollars profit this week based on him just crushing in what was like evidently just a smash start, because like you knew they were gonna run. Honestly, I was surprised they didn't run the score up more, and I think they took their foot off the pedal a little bit in the second half, and I think since he scored a couple garbage time touchdowns to make it look closer than it actually was. But no, this was a bit of a drubbing.
Yeah, I think anybody who's a Mark Ingram owner was a little disappointed with this game. I mean, he did have the 52 yards and a touchdown, but when you're watching Lamar Jackson run the ball 19 times, you're just
yeah.
And the other frustrating thing for me in this game is being a Joe Mixon owner. He is no longer a weekly start just based off of that team's offensive line.
It was. I mean, I didn't see any of it, but I was following the box score, and it was ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a bunch of Tyler Boyd, and this was by far his most disappointing game this year. In what should have been a much better start. Like I don't know. And so, like, I guess Auden Tate just looked phenomenal. I saw a couple people referencing the fact that he only caught 5 balls for 91 yards, but they were 5 highlight reel catches.
Right.
And so, like, good for him. Breakout game, awesome. Why is Tyler Boyd, who was theoretically your best receiver coming into the game, only getting 7 targets?
Right. Only one more than Alex Erickson.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. Shouldn't happen.
When I heard that since he's new coach, I can't remember his name right now, but he's a McVay disciple, right?
Yeah.
When I heard he was coming in, like, I assumed that they would have some of the same, concepts that McVay preaches.
Right.
Which, if you look at how well Cooper Kupp has performed, they feature the slot receiver, right?
Right.
And so I was sure Tyler Boyd was going to be a smash this year, and he's had a couple good games. He's had some production.
Right.
A lot of it's been garbage time, but he didn't even get the garbage time this week, and that's very frustrating.
I know, that's pretty much all Cincy is right now is garbage time.
Garbage time starts in the second quarter in Cincinnati.
It's horrible to say, but it's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to my favorite game of the week: San Francisco and LA Rams. San Francisco just dominated last year's NFC champion.
They made what I believe, and many people believe, is a really good team look really embarrassingly bad.
Yep.
And it's exciting to see because, like, I don't know, there were some glimpses last year with San Francisco with I can't even name the quarterbacks that they.
Nick Mullins.
Yes, Mullins. Who's
and
the other one?
CJ Beathard.
Yeah.
Beathard.
And so, like, you knew, I think people had a feeling that it was going to be special this year with Garoppolo. And I don't even know that Garoppolo has been that special.
He hasn't been amazing, but he hasn't been bad.
Right. And so the run game has been amazing. Their defense has been otherworldly.
Yeah.
And as much as we want to get into their defense, we're gonna say that for another day.
I want to so bad.
They've been really good.
Yep.
So I don't know what jumps out at you in this game. I thought Tevin Coleman having the lion's share of the opportunity was telling.
I mean, they still had a decent split though. I mean, Coleman had 18 attempts to Brady's 13, so they're both still usable backs, definitely.
Oh, for sure. Coleman got all of the red zone work, which is I think
It was like that when he was out too, though.
Yeah, Brady wasn't getting the red zone, which was very frustrating as a Brady guy. So
Oh yeah.
I think he's just a different level of talent than the guys that he's competing with.
I agree,
And
100%.
I think they're protecting him to a certain
Yeah.
extent.
They're worried from getting injured. I actually wrote an article on that at the start of the season, before the season started, how Brady should be the number one. I was like, this guy, just look at all the numbers. You look at all the comparables, and he's the guy.
No, I like him a lot. He's a guy that I've been a fan of. And the San Francisco receiving core has continued to be disappointing.
Yeah.
I really thought. First of all, I thought this was going to be much more of a shootout than it was, so I thought they were going to need to throw it.
Right.
But like Pettis, is this his breakout? 3 for 45. Like it's his best game of the season. But,
it is.
I thought Goodwin was gonna have an opportunity to catch a bomb, especially Talib was out this one, right?
Yep.
So I thought there was going to be an opportunity there. I think he did have one bounce off his hands, but no, very disappointing for the receiving core. I'm a Deebo Samuel believer as well, but I don't know. At this point, it seems to be like they don't need to throw it, so they're not going to throw it.
Right.
What about the Rams? What do you think of them?
The Rams, let's see, Jared Goff had 78 yards. Hideous. Nobody looked good in this game. I didn't see one person that really stood out to me.
Did Trubisky spend his bye week filling in for Jared Goff?
I think he might have. I retract that statement. Darrell Henderson actually looked decent in his 6 carries.
Sure.
So he had 6 carries for 39 yards. That's the only thing I can take away for the Rams in this game. Otherwise, every one of the receivers got shut down.
Yeah, I was relying heavily on Cup this week to pull me out of a hole, and that didn't pan out for me.
Let's just say Robert Woods had 0 receptions. When's the last time that happened?
Although he did somehow squeak in a rushing touchdown on the first drive. They looked amazing running the ball on the first drive. Did you watch this game?
Yeah.
You watched it. This is your team, right?
Oh yeah.
And so they just marched down the field. I think Malcolm Brown had like 40 yards on 5 attempts on the first drive.
Yep, and then he finished with 40 yards.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I was like, okay, this is gonna be because then San Francisco goes and they do the exact same thing the other way. They rush down the field and run for a touchdown. I was like, oh, all right, so this is how it's gonna be. And then just like the rest of the game, nobody could get anything going on the ground. Like I don't know, it was weird.
It's that pass rush in San Francisco, man.
Yeah, they're scary.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to finish up week 6.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at probably 45 minutes now. And we have 4 more games to do.
Yep.
So, I mean, whatever. We'll just speed through them. We got Atlanta, Arizona. Let's see. Kyler Murray looked great.
Yeah.
David Johnson played.
Matt Ryan looked great.
Matt Ryan looked great.
Oh,
actually, the entire Atlanta offense looked good. Austin Hooper, Julio Jones, Ridley played well.
Austin Hooper's a stud.
Devonta Freeman had a great game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
how does Dan Quinn, allegedly a defensive guru, have such an elite offense and atrocious defense?
Oh God, I don't know.
And so
he's a Seattle disciple. So how does he not run any bit of that defense? Like his defense is just funky.
I don't know what he runs, but all I know is I sold Devondre Campbell this offseason for a 4th round pick because I waited 2 years for him to break out.
And he never did.
And he never did. And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty happy with my depth at linebacker this year. I'm gonna just dump him for a 4th. I'll try to get something in the future. And he just decided, you know what? I'm gonna figure out how to play football this year.
Yeah, I think I got it now. Oh, dude, that sucks.
And Deion Jones has been not playing like Deion Jones, which I think is part of the reason why Devondre has been able to play the way that he has. And who's the other? Foyesade Alukun. I thought
non-existent.
I thought he was gonna compete with Devondre for playing time, and
I did
Devondre
too.
was like,
he figured it out.
You. Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, you guys are gonna try to play me with this guy? Nah, I'm just gonna decide I want to play now.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Tennessee and Denver is just going to be a short one too because
Yeah.
I don't want anybody there really.
That's trash.
Dallas and Jets. My boy Robbie Anderson, 125 to TV.
Sam Darnold looked good in his return.
He did. That's the big key there, I think.
Yeah.
And the big key in Dallas is to get rid of your head coach.
Yeah.
Then Pittsburgh and Chargers. The Chargers lost to Duck Hodges. The fuck's his first name?
So Devlin Duck Hodges. So that was the game that fucked me. Leo was telling me that I lost by 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
I was up by 29, and he had James Conner going. And James Conner had 25 points with 6 minutes left in the first half. And I was like, you know what? Fuck fantasy football.
Don't you hate those games?
Yes.
Oh God! So I'm in the Scott Fish Bowl. I am 5-0. And I'm about to go 6-0, but I'm playing.
Yeah.
I had Disley, which sucks. But I'm up by 13 points, and he's got Danny Amendola going for Detroit.
You're pretty safe. You never know. But...
So he has his little blow up games every now and then.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of holding out and saying, just beat Danny Amendola.
So my big dynasty league that I'm in, I'm 5-0, and I'm about to go 5-1 because I have Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp, Emmanuel Sanders, Will Dissly. Like those 4 players combined for less than 5 points.
Yeah, that's not good.
And so maybe more than 5 because Cooper I think had like 3 catches. But anyway, it's just like I'm losing to a team that is like they're 2-3. they're like 9th in the league in points for, and I'm second by like 12. and I've currently got 150, and I'm not completely without hope. If Kerryon Johnson and Kenny Golladay and Tracy Walker can combine for about 80 points, and Gerard Davis has a mediocre game and doesn't put up too much. So like I need like 30 and 30 from Kerryon and Kenny, and then like 20 from Tracy.
I think you should stop holding out hope.
I don't. Yeah, it's not realistic, but it's like. So you're saying
there's a chance.
Yeah.
Now, if this is the Eagles' offense back in the early.
Oh my God.
Oh man, I remember having Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, and LaShawn McCoy all on that team.
Oh yeah.
I was like, the only one I was missing was Vic.
All right, let's bang this thing out. Get out of here.
All right. Ready?
Ready.
All right, welcome back. Here we're going to finish up with Week 6. Let's go right into it with the Falcons and the Cardinals. Both quarterbacks looked great. Kyler Murray looked like a number 1 overall pick. He had 340 yards, 3 touchdowns. Matt Ryan looked amazing. He had, another 340 yards and 4 touchdowns?
So I read a stat earlier today. I think there's only 5 instances in the history of the NFL. I might have the exact number wrong, but it's somewhere in the ballpark of 5 times where a quarterback threw for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and lost. The last time it happened
was Matt Ryan.
Last year.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan.
I'm not surprised.
And he's played so well. He's a guy that was really high on coming into the season.
Same here.
I think you got to keep riding him. The production's there. It's just you're frustrated. You're frustrated if you're a fan, right? But for fantasy purposes, it's awesome.
I feel bad for Matt Ryan.
Oh, big time.
If they won that Super Bowl, I'd say all right, whatever. Well, it sucks, but the fact that they lost that Super Bowl and now that team has just struggled to stay even relevant.
The silly thing is, they lost that Super Bowl because their defense, not their offense, and Quinn, the defensive coach, got to stick around and continue to run the team into the ground. And Kyle had to go somewhere else and build another offense from scratch, and he's done it. And he looks fantastic. And the Atlanta Falcons were morons for letting him walk and not firing Dan Quinn and keeping him around. But
I'm pretty happy they did.
Let's move on. Austin Hooper looks like the tight end won this year. He's gone. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously,
Julio Jones had another good game.
Yep. You're continuing to run Julio.
Devonta Freeman had a huge game.
Yeah, and this was coming. Like,
Yep.
he's a guy I was high on coming into the season.
Same here.
I think game script has not really been there for him yet this year, but apparently, just start your running backs and tight ends against the Arizona Cardinals, and it's
Oh my gosh.
it's magic medicine.
Yep.
Um,
With Arizona, you had Kyler Murray, obviously.
mhm.
Larry Fitzgerald still getting it done.
Yeah, he's getting volume, and he's not going to drop balls. So absolutely.
And then David Johnson coming in with his back issue, but still getting it done. And Chase Edmonds has made himself a very good handcuff.
Yeah, no, he shouldn't be on anybody's waiver wires, that's for sure.
Right. We can move on to Tennessee and Denver.
Rather not.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Tannehill finally got some playing time. Didn't look great.
My only question for you is: do you think Mariota stays on the bench, or do you think they put him back in there?
I think they put him back in there.
You think it would protect him?
They can't. They can't protect that. That offensive line is not well. All right, the offensive line is bad, but it's worse with Mariota.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna. Well, actually, what's Tennessee's record right now?
They are 2-4.
Yeah, so I think honestly they're gonna ride him out this year. I think, and if it doesn't go well, they're just gonna draft a quarterback.
Yeah. The ineptitude of that offense has hurt Derrick Henry, who had been having a pretty good season coming in.
Right.
And I really don't think it's Denver's defense. I don't think the defense has been quite themselves this year. They're not.
Agreed.
So I think it's really the Tennessee offense that's hurting them. Really, nobody else talked about. A.J. Brown didn't do much.
No. Adam Humphrey's still not a good football player.
Still not a good football player. He's going to catch some short underneath stuff, but no, I'm not interested. Courtland Sutton still looks like the number one receiver in Denver.
Yeah.
Sanders went out early with a knee injury. He doesn't seem too serious. He should be back, but you never like to see that. And the run game in Denver still split, but still
it's
healthy.
Weird.
Healthy
it's
split.
a weird split for me. I thought it was going to be the opposite way. I thought it was going to be Freeman more in the early downs, and then Lindsey would be involved more in the passing downs, and it's vice versa completely.
Yeah, it's interesting that way. But and I'm still not interested in Flacco. He's he's not an elite quarterback, no matter what anybody tells you.
Let's move on to the Cowboys and the Jets. Sam Darnold in his return looks great.
Yeah, no, really excited to see that. I got some Sam Darnold in my leagues, and he's not somebody I'm relying on yet, but he's somebody that I have high hopes for, and so you like to see these flashes. So
really, and anybody who was holding on with Robbie Anderson and Jameson Crowder waiting for Darnold to come back.
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson had himself 125 in a TD, and I think Jameson Crowder had himself 98 yards.
Yep.
So it's nice to see them two get back involved.
Ryan Griffin caught a touchdown in this one. Do you think he's something, or is he just a holdover
he's just a holdover till Herndon comes, because he's been there this whole time. I mean, granted, Falk was there, but I mean, he's been here the whole time playing high snaps, and he hasn't been involved at all.
Okay. And on the Dallas side, it wasn't Dak's worst game ever, but playing without your two tackles and without your top receiver, it certainly is not a recipe for success. He looked okay realistically. It's just like he's not like when Tavon Austin is your leading receiver. Tavon Austin's not even sure if he is a receiver. He thinks he's a running back. Right. So I don't know. It was tough. And as an Amari Cooper believer, it was really tough seeing him go out early. But apparently, it's not expected to be a long-term thing. It's just a thigh contusion. So it's more about pain management than it is about serious long-term repercussions. Yep.
Anybody holding out hope that Tony Pollard was going to mix in some work? He's pretty much down to just a handcuff. Zeke had 33 touches last night. He's just 100% bell cow.
Yeah, Pollard was getting some looks when they were up late in blowouts. Yeah, he's mixing in late in the third and fourth, but no, he's not going to be getting snaps in competitive games. So
right, he's kind of just a hold for a handcuff.
Yep.
And then the Sunday night game, Pittsburgh and the Chargers. You had Devlin Duck Hodges beating Phillip Rivers.
And apparently, so this is a fun aside. he is going. So the reason he's Duck Hodge is because he won like duck call competitions.
Yeah, I heard that.
And so apparently, to celebrate this momentous victory, he and his father are coming up to Canada to go duck hunting in Saskatchewan, which is where my maternal grandmother is from. So yeah, so hopefully they'll give him a warm welcome out in the prairies, and he'll find lots of ducks. There's nowhere for them to hide because there's no trees. It's just cropland stuff. No, it's he did what he needed to do. He got the win, and as a huge underdog quarterback in his first ever NFL start, you can't ask for much more than that, and to put his team in a position to win, and let skill position players do the work, right? So
definitely. Benny Snell looked great.
He did, yeah. He's efficient with his really touches. Good. Yeah. And James Conner was, he wasn't as efficient on the ground, but he looked good in the passing game. To my dismay, I could have done with a little bit less productivity, but I don't have him anywhere, so I'm a little biased. Juju, bit of a tough week for a bit of a tough season, really. I think a lot of people had high hopes for Juju coming into the year, and so it's not been what you wanted coming in. So I think there's better days ahead, but I don't think Devlin is going to be the answer to Juju's prayers.
No, I think the Big Ben injury really kind of hurt him there.
Absolutely. On the other side, Hunter Henry, very
came back and it's huge.
Excuse me. Oh my goodness! If I could find somebody that was worried about him getting hurt again, I would buy him in a heartbeat because he's still only 24 years old. He's a real deal. I don't like the injury prone designation because the injuries he's had have been pretty traumatic. It's not like he's just made of glass. Like he's had some pretty serious stuff happen, and he's battled back and he's come back to continue to play at an elite level. So I'm a big Hunter Henry believer.
Yeah, I agree. Same here. And Mike Williams played well. He had 9 targets, I believe. 9 targets, almost 100 yards.
I'm just learning a little bit about air yards this year, and apparently he is an air yards just king. And so like he's getting the opportunities, and I believe there's gonna be some positive regression, and he's going to see the productivity you want from him. What I'm really surprised at is Keenan Allen hasn't really been himself the last couple games.
No.
What's going on there?
I'm not really sure. I think it was just teams are really starting to key in on him now. I mean, the first few games, he was just a target hog, so everybody's just trying to shut down Keenan Allen and make everybody else beat him.
With his last 3 games, he has not topped 50 yards.
Really?
Yeah, 33 in this one, 18 and 48. And so, that's
that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, and that was after the big game in Houston when he went 13 for 183 and 2 touchdowns. So it's kind of cooled off a bit since then. I really thought that they'd be, especially in a game where they're behind, they'd make more of an effort to get him involved. But he only got 6 targets in this one.
Right. I think they were just trying to go for the home run ball with Mike Williams. I mean, he had one clank off his shoulder. He had like a 30 or 40-yard pass clank off. It was such a horrible drop, too. I don't know what happened. It looked ugly. I mean, he followed it right up with a beautiful catch with his hands.
Yeah.
Like the very next play, but I was like, man, that drop was hideous.
I don't know if you remember, it was a year or 2 ago. I think it might have been last year, actually. When it was in the playoffs. Pittsburgh played the Chargers in the playoffs. Oh, I don't think it was last year, actually. That doesn't sound right. But anyway, and they were trying to cover Keenan Allen with a linebacker. I think it was it was like Vince Williams or something, because it was after the Shazier injury. Jesus. That's why I think it was last year, not the year before. It was after the Shazier injury, and they just kept covering him with a linebacker.
That's such a horrible idea.
They must have learned their lesson, because I can't imagine that if they had a linebacker covering Keenan Allen this game, they wouldn't have gone after him a little bit more.
I'm pretty sure they just had Joe Hayden follow him.
Yeah. Anybody else? Melvin Gordon has not looked like a guy that was deserving of holding out since he's come back.
I think he's going to have to get some reps before you actually see Melvin Gordon again if he does. I mean, it's tough with Eckler, how he was playing so well. You can't just sit there and just start giving Melvin Gordon the ball. You got to play your most efficient guy.
Yeah, they've averaged a full 8 points fewer per game since Melvin Gordon has come back. So I think someone on Twitter today was saying, why don't we see if Melvin Gordon wants to find somebody to trade for him again?
Yeah, right.
So anyway, it's not a good situation.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up right there with a little dig on Melvin Gordon. Just want to say, don't forget to check out idpguys.org and dynastyfootballdigest.com. We have all sorts of tools, including a trade calculator, start-sit charts for you each week, rankings every week. We have a Slack chat for our subscribers. We have a $1 subscription. We have a Slack chat where you talk to all of our writers. Let's see what else make sure you subscribe to Writer Digest on YouTube. We're looking to get to 1,000 subscribers. You can follow all the content. You have F3 Pod, Rated IDP Live, IDP Guys, new coming out. What is it? Dynasty Theater 3000.5 or something like that. I think it is that Doug's got working in the midst. Plus anything else that IDP Guys does. And also make sure to follow @myFFL shirts on Twitter. It's also part of the Writer Digest. It's myfantasyfootballshirt.com. It's for anybody who has anything fantasy football related. You want to get t-shirts for your league or make some funny t-shirts for the loser of the league. Make sure you check it out. All right, my name's Joey the Tooth, IDP. I'm joined here with Andrew. I'll say it, @DubsFans02. Thank you again, and maybe next week we can give Sean a little kick in the pants.
Peace.